Hello, dear students. I'm Professor Dr. Elif Uçkan Dağdemir. Today, I would like to give a course introduction to our course titled Foreign Trade. As we all know, exchange of goods among individuals or among countries is as old as humanity. So even if we look at the ancient times, we see people exchanging their commodities. And of course, in those times, the type of the exchange was via barter. So it means that the people were changing their commodities for another commodity. But today, international trade is enjoying its golden times due to the rapid increase in international transactions. Even though international trade is very old and depends on the ancient times, today the international trade is very important because we do most of our economic transactions via international linkages or international transactions. And this is due to the rapid increase in internet and increased interrelationship between the communities and between the peoples. And world is referred to as a global village in which national economic borders have been losing their importance. We as individuals or the countries or the firms of the countries have lots of economic relations with their foreign or our foreign counterparts. And it means that today the national economic borders have been losing their importance in this global village. And in this global village, tastes and demand preferences of the households have become similar. I think we all know or we all realize that an individual or a household consumes or would like to consume a commodity which is very similar to a commodity that a consumer or a household would like to demand in Germany or in China. So such a pattern of trade represents that today our tastes and demand preferences are more or less the same. So, in this respect, international trade has been serving as one of the main components of globalization. So, in this global world, in this global big village, we would like to consume more or less the similar commodities, and that's due to the globalization and rapid increase in technology and internet and all that stuff. Thus, we have to understand the role and functions of international trade as a catalyst, as we have been talking about in this global village, in this big global village. International trade acts as a catalyst, and we have to understand then the role and functions of international trade as a whole. And if we want to take part in this global economy, we have to be aware of international trade policy and its instruments. Today, all the countries that participate in the world economy pursue their trade policies, and some of them pursue their national trade policies, but most of the countries they participate within an economic integration like European Union or like in Asian Economic Union, and Eurasian Economic Unions. So these countries which are part of an economic integration, they have to pursue the trade policy of their economic integration. So in this respect, we have to know international trade theory in advance. If we would like to understand the international trade policy of the countries, then we have to be aware of the international trade theory, because the policies mostly depend on the international trade theory. Basically, the aim of this course book or the aim of this course is to analyze the international trade theory in one part and international trade policy in the other part. Of course, we have only one course titled Foreign Trade and only one course book. And in this respect, we had to divide the book into two parts, the theory part and the policy part. So in the first chapters, we are dealing with the international trade theory, starting from the first theories, and then coming through the current or the latest trade theories. Then we are skipping through the international trade policy, depending on the trade theory. And we are dealing with the trade policy of the countries, of the economic integrations. On this basis, our book consists of 8 chapters dealing with core interrelated topics on international trade. Regarding the content of our book on foreign trade, first chapter is the introduction chapter. So we introduce, we give an introduction to international trade. We introduce the international trade with its main terms, main patterns, and we give an outlook to the world trade. Then the second chapter is on the classical trade theory and standard theory of international trade. In this second chapter, we are starting with the first international trade theories, which are referred to classical trade theory, and then comes the standard theory of international trade. The third chapter is devoted to the factor endowments and the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. This is the theory which was developed in 1930s and which is quite important, and which was a kind of an improvement in the international trade theory in those times. Then at the fourth chapter, we are going through the post-Heckscher-Ohlin theories, or in other words, we are dealing with the new trade theories. At the fifth chapter, we are analyzing the trade barriers, meaning that we are examining the tariffs and non-tariff restrictions, because in our world today, even though countries pursue free trade policies mostly, but in some times, especially in the economic crisis times, we see countries implementing again trade barriers like increasing the tariffs and imposing non-tariff restrictions. So in the fifth chapter, we are analyzing them and their economic effects, mainly the welfare effects. At the sixth chapter, we are dealing with the multilateral trading system and economic integrations. In this global world, or in this global economy, we have a trading system, a multilateral trading system, which is managed by the World Trade Organization. So at this sixth chapter, we are introducing you the World Trade Organization and its trading system. And then we analyze the economic integrations under this title, because you will see when we are analyzing, but in this multilateral trading system, we have economic integrations as well. So a typical example is the European Union, which we can give. So under this sixth chapter, we are examining and discussing about the trading system and economic integrations. At the seventh chapter, we are examining or analyzing the monetary aspects of international trade, or the monetary aspects which are dealt with the international trade. So we are analyzing the foreign exchange market and foreign exchange rate. We see the basics of the foreign exchange market, the functions of the foreign exchange market, and the meaning and the determination of the foreign exchange rate. And at the last chapter, at the last and the eighth chapter, we are dealing with the international capital movements. Again, it's a topic which we cannot skip it, or which is a topic directly related with the international trade and with the global economy. And as a whole, after finishing this course and after finishing our course book, we are expecting to give, or we will be expecting to have given you a comprehensive analysis of international trade, both in theory and in policy respects, and taking into consider the monetary aspects which affects the international trade. And as a conclusion, I would like to remind you that you have lots of materials regarding this course which you can find in our system. So I would highly recommend you to consult to all the documents related with your course.